So sorry for the delay, but I promise you, I'm going to make it worth your stay. I just had to do the Ugly Money podcast. We did a hell of a run in Atlanta, so I want to thank you all, but let's just get into the content. It was a crazy day. I was in court today the whole entire way, so let's do it.
Who did Mr. Zachary see in that infinity? He never saw nobody in that infinity but Woody. The Texaco. Oh my gosh, there's the smoking gun. There's the smoking gun that shows that my client murdered Donovan Thomas. He's on video at a Texaco station a block away before the murder. Heaven forbid. He pulls up in that Texaco in a Pontiac. He leaves the Pontiac. He goes, you've seen this video 1,000 times. Well, maybe not that many, but it must feel like it. He leaves the Pontiac to go into the Texaco. And he buys some junk food in the Texaco, goes back into the Pontiac. He sits in the Pontiac, he talks to another car that pulls up, he gets back in the Pontiac, and he leaves in the Pontiac. Go in the back. Watch the video 1,001st time. You're never going to see him get in an infinity. You're never going to see it. How does he get in the infinity? Was there a witness that got up here and put him in the infinity? No. Do they have video from the surrounding area that shows him transferring into the infinity? No. I mean, presumably, he teleports into the infinity. I have no idea what their theory is going to be when they argue to you, but I'm going to be fascinated to hear it, because there's been no testimony about him in an infinity. How do we know it's an infinity in a drive-by? Well, the state is pretty sure it's an infinity. The state put on, this is one of my favorite experts of all of the state's experts, they put on an infinity identification expert who has worked with, infinity for years. And he can tell in any kind of grainy video that that car is an infinity. That's an amazing expert, but I'll take his testimony. That's fine. I think he's right. I think it's an infinity. And Mr. Kendrick is not in an infinity. And it's pretty hard to do a drive-by shooting if you are not in the car that did the drive-by. It is absurd. So again, there's no eyewitness testimony of Mr. Kendrick involved in the shooting. No weapons tying Mr. Kendrick to it. No ballistics. No fingerprints. No gunpowder residue. No DNA. Nothing. Nothing that you would expect to see. Now, the state has told you, well, you can look at circumstantial evidence. This is true. You can. And the state put up a dollar bill with some puzzle pieces missing. So, well, you can kind of infer that that's a dollar bill. And that's true. But don't go try to spin that dollar bill anywhere, because that dollar bill will not spend. And this evidence is not sufficient to convict beyond a reasonable doubt. Where's the cell phone data? Oh my gosh, you poor folks. You had to spend days listening to experts come in here and talk to you about cell phone location data. Where was Mr. Kendrick's cell phone location data putting him there? They didn't show you any. Who killed Donovan Thomas? I don't know who killed Donovan Thomas. But I think Mr. Shart's theory has some merit. Let's turn to the allegations that YSL is a gang. The state had to bring in 5 different gang experts. You guys had to sit through 5 different gang experts to try to convince you that YSL is a gang. Now, they gave you the definition of a traditional gang. And these gang experts, who, as Mr. Sharp pointed out, all sit there and train each other in this insular little unit, but they told you, yeah, they're not a traditional gang. They don't meet the definition of a traditional gang. But lo and behold, we have another category of gang. It's a hybrid gang. Ooh, a hybrid gang. This is fascinating. Let's talk about hybrid gangs. What's a hybrid gang? Oh, a hybrid gang is whatever we say it is at any given point in time to fit our narrative. That's what a hybrid gang is. I use the term nose of wax. They can twist it any way they want to fit the group of people they want and say they're a hybrid gang. It's a catch-all. It's a catch-all used to throw all kinds of people together and say, well, you don't meet the definition of a gang, but because we are gang experts that train each other, we have decided you are a hybrid gang. Well, Hybrid gang. So a hybrid gang apparently is one where, according to their experts, Bloods and Crips can live together in peace and harmony with each other to accomplish some type of goal. Does that make sense to anyone in here that has any basic understanding of the way that gangs work? You've had the state's own witnesses come here on the stand and talk about how ridiculous it is that you can say, that anyone can say, that YSL is a gang when you can have Bloods and Crips and Independents and all of these people be members of this alleged gang. As Mr. Sharp talked about, there's none of the traditional gang elements. There's no beating in. Anybody can call themselves a member of YSL. You know, someone, I guess, alleged there might be a $25 dues fee or something ridiculous to that effect. But there's nothing that shows them together as a gang. Oh, well, wait. They are a gang because look at these pictures of YSL wearing green clothing. That must mean they're a gang. You guys are mostly in blue and black. You associate with each other here today. Are you guys a gang? The state is all in red today. Are they a gang because they're all dressed in red? Poor Miss Hingerty happened to come in red today. I guess she's a member of the gang as well. It is absurd. Lil Wayne has ESPN on his arm. ESPN. I guess Lil Wayne is surprised that he's a member of YSL too. My client's got ESPN on his body. No, that can't be because he was a football star and in his mind probably liked ESPN. It must be because he's a member of a gang called YSL. So it's wonderful that the state's gang experts have such insights into the mental thinking of my client and Lil Wayne and everybody else. Now, the state may say, well, they're not a gang, even though they all dress in red today, looking quite dapper. Because, well, they don't have some criminal objective. Well, I don't know. Let's look at the way the state indicts people. The state's around Investigator Viverito. Investigator Viverito is the last person I can find anywhere on video or that you've seen on video holding that missing $500,000 watch. Did she steal the watch? Was that an overt act and furtherance of the conspiracy? Maybe I should go to a grand jury and try to indict this. It's the state gang or something ludicrous like that. Everything gang investigators see is viewed from the viewpoint of it must be a gang. Mr. Kendrick, look at the photo they showed you of Mr. Kendrick in the bandana shirt. Go back and look at it in color. The gang investigator says it's red. It is orange. Orange as the sun. You look at it, you decide, don't take my word for it, don't take their word for it, don't take the state's words for it. Use your own eyes. But when you're a gang investigator, everything has to fit the narrative. And that's the narrative. The snake on Mr. Kendrick's chest. Did he get that snake because YSL is a gang? Or did he get that snake because it represents the tree of knowledge in the Adam and Eve story? Well, they can tell you. I saw a mentalist Saturday night at a show, and this mentalist was amazing. This mentalist, you would think of something, and the mentalist would tell you, oh my gosh, you're thinking of a number between 1 and 50, it's 47. It's actually quite impressive. Apparently, Investigator Viverito and these other gang experts are mentalists. Maybe they will be at the next fundraiser I go to. I'd like to see some more of their tricks. Mr. Kendrick does modeling shots. So someone will say to Mr. Kendrick, hey, hold this hat. Oh, that's gang. The hat has a rat with a line through it. That's gang activity. We're sending a message to everybody. There's a photo taken outside at the time of a video shoot for music. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Gang activity. There's photos of Mr. Kendrick wearing clothes that say slat outside of a recording studio. More gang activity. More people trying to pull themselves out, get into music, exercise their First Amendment rights. More gang activity. It's just exhausting, folks.
So with Doug's whole entire closing, his energy was A1. Doug had the pettiest closing I've ever seen. But it was effective because the amount of doubt and the amount of BS that they had to put on Quindarius Zachary and Woody basically is what stops everything. The state knew that whatever they put out there, they were going to have to stretch it like Laffy Taffy. And at the end of the day, you can overtalk your point. And I think Doug's cross was so well that he was able to effectively give all the doubt in the world. The phone footage, I mean, the cell phone tower, that stuff right there. You never put Diamante Kendrick anywhere. Now, the state definitely, Hilton, she did a good job. I don't care what anybody says or how they try to get mad and how they try to spin it. Hilton did her thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a highlight of Matt Sharp. But as far as what he was able to do, my man Weinstein, we'll get more into it by the end of the video, was able to effectively throw in so much doubt and so much proving of disinformation that the state was given, because even the state, and I wish he would have went with this, that's why I can't give him an A+. If he would have said the state came in here with all red as though they were Bloods, how do we know they're not? You know, if he would have went extra petty with that, then that would have made sense. But if he would have been able to point it out and be like, see, we don't think they're gang members. I don't think the ESPN stuff really works. I don't think it was effective at all, because at the end of the day, we just going to be fair, square, obvious, and honest. It's too many people around YSL that has ESPN on their necks and tatted. So there's that. Now, if he would have put da-na-na at the like on the side of him, cool. And one of the other things he couldn't explain is why Yak Gotti had the word slat written on his arm. It's those little crumbs that you leave out, because even Hilton, what she was saying was, it's what they're not showing you. It's what they're not saying. They're so focused and fixated on this cell phone that the cell phone was lost there. Was left there. Nobody believes that. So let's go ahead and take it to Matt Sharp's closing. Just a little highlight of a 10-minute clip real quick.
Let's talk about Kenneth Copeland's credibility. So use the same test you do for those quote-unquote expert witnesses. What's his bias, his motive? How's he come across on the stand? What are his motivations? Well, we know he really hates jail. That was clear. I submit to you that it seems that not only does he hate jail, but he almost has a mental disorder about, he literally said, I'd rather die than go to Rice Street. That's extreme. He's told us, I would do anything to stay out of jail. I would lie on anyone to get myself out of trouble. He has his own term for what he does, the finesse. He really hates jail. What else do we know about Kenneth Copeland? Well, we know about, I'm going to ask y'all to think back and remember this when he was on the stand, a case, 21 CP 197618, State of Georgia versus Kenneth Copeland. Remember that? When he was actually in jail, and he picked up another charge because he claimed that a jail worker attacked him and sprayed him with OC spray for no good cause. And he brought charges, or tried to bring charges, against this poor jail worker. What do we know? The surveillance from the jail was pulled. The investigators looked at it, as they should. Even Kenneth Copeland, a no liar, when he makes allegations against the police, yes, it should be looked into. And it was. And what did they find? No OC spray was emitted. In fact, the officer that was accused didn't even have OC spray on them at the time. So what happened to Kenneth Copeland in that case? Well, he was charged with false statement and false report of a crime. 2 felonies, excuse me. So as a result of his lie, he gets charged with these 2 felonies. False statement and false report of a crime. And it's pending, and it's pending, and it's pending. Then all of a sudden, as this case is ramping up, and Mr. Copeland's going to have to take the stand and be asked about his pending charges and his prior lies, all of a sudden, on January 18th, 2024, Fonnie Willis and her employee, Kenneth Hutcherson, quietly dismissed the case against Kenneth Copeland, the case of false statement, a case of false report of a crime. Why did they do it, according to that sheet? Was it, oh, we actually looked at the video again and it actually supported Kenneth Copeland? No. Was it the victim didn't want to prosecute? No. Prosecutorial discretion. They decided it was in their best interest to dismiss that case against Kenneth Copeland before he testified. Remember I told Kenneth Copeland about it? Thought he was going to get up and hug me. He said, my case is dismissed? Yeah, sure was. State took care of you. You're not on this indictment either. Kenneth Copeland's a liar. He's a proven liar. And let's talk about his prior statements he made, because we know on June 10, 2015 is when he said Demekion Garlington gave him certain information and that Shannon Stillwell was one of the people responsible for killing Donovan Thomas. Demekion told him at the McDonald's. That's what Kenneth Copeland said on June 10, 2015. Well, we learned that Kenneth Copeland actually met with the police in 2015 4 times prior to that June 10, 2015 interview. We learned that he met with Investigator Thorpe on January 11th. Now, mind you, all these meetings, presumably, if it were true, Kenneth Copeland would have that knowledge of what Demekion Garlington said to him for all these meetings. January 11, 2015, he goes in to talk to Thorpe. Doesn't say anything about Demekion Garlington telling him that Shannon Stillwell is involved in Donovan Thomas's murder. Places himself at the Green Store, which is less than a minute away from the scene of the Donovan Thomas murder. And he's asked about, specifically by Detective Thorpe, if he's ever rented or driven an Infiniti. And what does Kenneth Copeland say? No, never. Denies it completely. That's on January 11th. That's the night going into the morning after of the Donovan Thomas homicide. And of course, we know that's a lie because Kenneth Copeland was in the Infiniti on the night of January 9th with Quindarius Zachary. So he lies right off the bat to Detective Thorpe. January 28th, he meets with Thorpe, Dennis, and Gaither. Again, never mentions this supposed statement by Demekion Garlington about Shannon Stillwell being involved. In fact, he's asked specifically who he thought killed Donovan Thomas. He mentions his friend Doc and goes back and forth about whether Doc could have done it or not. He shares a theory about Donovan Thomas running off with someone's drugs. He shares a theory about Kelvin Watts robbing people and Donovan Thomas being caught in that situation. And he's also asked on January 28th about a rumor that he stole Donovan Thomas's chain. And what's he say? Oh, no, I didn't do that. Someone else apparently stole Donovan Thomas's chain, and they brought it to me, and I realized it was Donovan Thomas's stuff, and I returned it. I don't have any problems with Donovan Thomas. Me and Donovan Thomas are cool. He also said that on the 11th. So then we go to February 20th, the third statement he gave. Again, never mentions anything about what Demekion Garlington supposedly told him. And Curry, Investigator Curry, asked him about the Donovan Thomas case. Doesn't know anything. And then on February 21st, with Gaither and Thorpe, he's again asked about the Donovan Thomas case. Never mentions, oh, Demekion Garlington at the McDonald's told me that Shannon Stillwell did it. Again, he's asked about Donovan Thomas's chain, and it's another lie. Oh, well, someone brought it to me. He sticks with that lie. Lie after lie after lie. Denying beef with Donovan Thomas, denying stealing Donovan Thomas's chain, denying ever being in an Infiniti. But those are the statements that Kenneth Copeland gave leading up to June 10, 2015. Could you put on page 33, Mr. Kokomo? So, this is a picture from June 10, 2015 that's in evidence. And it is misleading. It shows Mr. Copeland wearing street clothes, civilian clothes, not a blue jumpsuit. But let's not get confused. Let's not get it twisted. On June 10, 2015, Kenneth Copeland, for the first time, was headed to jail for serious charges. That's what's different about this interview. He was headed to Rice Street. He had a gun charge from the Dunbar Rec Center. Remember when he brought the stick into the rec center and left it on the bleachers? He had just been arrested on that warrant from when he did that. And when they arrested him on the warrant, they came into his girlfriend Deshaun Quarterman's apartment. And what did they find? They find another gun, a stolen Smith & Wesson, in Deshaun's kitchen. And they find a stolen MacBook in Deshaun's apartment. And they find stolen IDs and stolen property in Deshaun's car. And so now we got 2 guns, stolen property. Oh, and then the police are saying, oh, this stolen property, it's linked to auto breakings that have happened in your neighborhood. So he's got guns, and he's got a federal agent in there as well, Agent Cunningham, who's talking about these cases going federal. He's got a lot going on. And promises are made. Well, let's talk about the threats first. And all these officers say, oh, I wouldn't threaten him. I wouldn't threaten him. I threaten no bodily harm on him. I'm going to tell you. Max Shard said this here today. Y'all threaten to punch me in the face anytime. But don't threaten to put me in prison for 25 years, no parole. That's a real threat that gets my attention. You can punch me. But the state and the police act like statements that Agent Cunningham made, like, you're an armed criminal. We got you dead to rights. You're facing 15 plus 10. That's 25. No parole. You're not going to get out till you're 48. And that's not even including the conspiracies. You won't see your children till you're 48. That's a threat. That's a lot more bigger threat than I'm going to punch you in the face or we're going to beat you until you confess. That's a threat. What else do they say? It's totally up to you if these charges go federal or not. You have to help yourself. I'm going to call the U.S. attorney, and they're going to ask me, what did he do to help himself? You see what goes on here? This isn't an accident. This is the playbook. Get the liar, get him jammed up, threaten him, tell him he's not going to see his kids again until he's 48, and then, oh, but maybe we can do something for you. You just got to give us what we want. And yes, that was enough to make self-admitted liar, self-admitted finesser, a person who fully admits that he would lie on anyone to get out of jail, to stay out of jail, to get out of trouble. That was enough to coax him to make up a story about Shannon Stillwell and others. And that was actually enough to put his plan in motion because he knew someone was going to have to back up his story. And that was enough to have him reach out to Demekion Garlington and try to get Demekion Garlington to go out and go on with the story. Which, of course, Mr. Copeland told us he's no longer friends with Mr. Garlington because Mr. Garlington would not go along with that story. Or he's upset with Mr. Garlington.
So Matt Sharp basically had to do exactly what Weinstein did. Now, Matt Sharp went first, but I wanted Matt Sharp to go second in the video to kind of highlight basically what he did. He showed exactly what he's supposed to. The state with Atkins try to act like there was no bias. I think it was a terrible angle to go about it because we seen the bias. So for you to act like we didn't just see this stuff, Viverito, freaking Gaither coughing under her breath and all this stuff, Dennis being combative and all this stuff and everything like that. Like the only person it seemed like who was actually any good at his job was Sprinkle. Because they lied on Thorpe. Thorpe was supposed to be this magician of a freaking investigator, and he just wasn't. Thorpe was not believable. And I hate to just talk trash about him. I don't know the man personally. He probably done some great things for the community, helped out some families and all of this stuff and everything like that. But Thorpe, bruh, hey, they called you Squirrel Brain for a reason. And Woody wasn't lying. You just went for it. And it seemed like everything that he was doing, he just happened to go for it. So now, with the cross of Sharp, it definitely seemed like enough was done. Because the problem with today was that you had Donovan Thomas' family in there. And shout out to their family. It was nothing but sweet. I, hugged his mom and everything like that. Shamel Dreams hugged his mom and everything like that. And it just seemed like they're paraded along for a BS show. Matt Sharp 100%, in my opinion, definitely proved that Shannon Stillwell had nothing to do with the murder. That's why he wasn't really charged with anything. He's charged with participation. But it does not seem, in my humble opinion, that he murdered Shamel Drinks. It definitely seemed like the other car did, and they didn't do a thorough investigation. What would have been wrong with doing investigations on all three of the cars and using process of elimination? It's not as though it would even matter in the grand scheme of things. Just doesn't. What would have been the problem with that? We seen this shit happen all the time. I hate to say shit. I don't want to cuss. We seen this crap happen all the freaking time. We seen it happen. When we get a lineup, what does the lineup do? It grabs innocent people who fit the description. So y'all can't see the BS that's going on. Y'all got lazy. The freaking state got lazy. And they just decided, you know what? Shannon Stillwell is a bad guy already. He's getting shot at. He's rapping about all of this crap. He's going to war with people. He's doing all of this stuff. And now all we keep on seeing and keep on hearing is bad investigative work, to the point where I don't give a damn. If you ain't rich, life's a bitch right now. When justice is supposed to be blind, we all pay taxes. We all pay taxes. It shouldn't have freaking mattered. And it seems like if you ain't rich, you're done. You're just done, bro. It's gonna happen in Buckhead. They would have found them people already. To the life of me, I don't understand why on God's green we did not get the other car looked after. Because they all were in the vicinity, so it wouldn't even freaking matter. And they just don't care. These police are not going to convince me that they give a damn about the people. The DA's office does not convince me that they give a damn about the people. They drugged these individuals in there, these lovely families. They was in there strong, bro. They brought them in there. For what? To go through this stuff? Man, we seen a picture of Donovan Thomas deceased. It was bad. Thank God he wasn't too decomposed and nothing like that. But man, to have his mama had to go through this stuff, and they're not going to get her son any justice. But I'll give y'all this one. Simone Hilton, she did all right.
So let's go through the evolution of Kenneth Rudy Cole. Let's take some time, all right? January 11th. This is hours after the murder. His girlfriend's house just got shot up, and they called him. Thorpe calls the girlfriend to kind of check in on and see what's happening with that shooting, and they put Copeland on the phone. See, on January 11th, when he walks inside, he real strong YSL, right? He's not trying to give up his friends. He want to let the police know, I didn't murder. Now, let me tell you something. I didn't murder Donovan Thomas. I'm going to tell you I was at my girlfriend's house. I'm going to tell you I went to the green stove. I went to McDonald's. He's not going to give you too much information because here, he's trying to still protect his friends. That's just common sense. The police don't really know what's going on yet. So when he first goes in, he's trying to protect his friends. But then we get January 28th. See, if y'all remember, y'all, this is after he gets out the shootout on the highway. See, this is after he came from the little pool party, and he on his way home, and they shoot at him at the highway. And remember, in this interview, he talks about, I believe, Shannon being upset with him because he didn't want to shoot at him. So here, he's trying to tell them everything that YFN people are doing to him, but he's still not trying to give up his friends. They're his friends. But he's a little frustrated because everyone's blaming him for murdering Donovan Thomas, and everyone's shooting back at him, shooting him, and he didn't do anything. Then we get February 20th. Now this was the worst one because that's when he's trying to come out the house and take his baby to the hospital, and they come down the street shooting at him. So now he's like, they are shooting at me, they're shooting at my baby and my girl. Look, this is too much. And he tells them about what happened. Again, this is the interview where he really didn't want to give up who shot at him. He knew who did it, but see that gang street code is he still didn't want to give up the person who shot at him and his baby. And that's when Kirby was like, you're not going to tell me who just shot at you with your baby? Then the next day was February 21st. They had arrested him for a violation of probation. He was upset because they arrested him on a violation of probation. And Gaither talks to him, one, about the shooting that had happened the day before, and trying to get more information about the murder, trying to figure out what is going on. What is going on with this back and forth? Because by this time, and ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to go through that whole litany, what we call an Operation Planner shooting, but you heard evidence of all those shootings that were happening back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And they're trying to get a grasp of what is happening. And then we get to the 9-hour interview. So what happened between February and June? A lot. We got some back and forth shootings. Remember, Mr. Copeland went to jail for that violation of probation. He came out. He went to Henry County for a little while. And then on June 10th, he gets arrested for the gun that he had at the Dunbar Center back in May. And what's going on here? Mr. Copeland is tired. He's been getting shot at. His family been getting shot at. Homes getting shot up. Remember Kenneth Hurst or Kenny Booth's house? His sister-in-law, his sister's child's father's home has been broken up, getting shot at. And Shannon and Mr. Williams not talking to him. Remember Shannon, and he thought Mr. Williams was trying to kill him. That's everything he talks about in this 9-hour interview. And let me say this. If some reason y'all want to watch all these interviews again, y'all can. You just got to let them know. I don't know if you want to sit there watching a 9-hour interview again, but if you wanted to, you can. But in this interview, he's at the place where enough is enough for him. And I'm going to tell you about Mr. Copeland. I'm going to tell you about Kendrick and Zachary. They are self-preservationists. What do I mean by that? They're going to not talk about what they've done because they don't want to go to jail. But if telling on them is going to get me out of jail, I'm going to tell you what's happened. Because I don't want to go to jail. He's absolutely right. He did not want to go to jail. But he's not going to lie to the police about what they did. He's going to minimize what he's done. And that's what he did in this interview for 9 hours. He minimized his involvement in some things, but he told everything that they did. And if you don't believe what he told the police, well, let's listen to what he told his girlfriend on the jail call.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. Do y'all do it with? Come on, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. True, no ego coming.
So in that call to his girlfriend, to the love of his life at the time, he told them, I need G to come in so they can believe, so they can know what I told them is true. They had to verify what I said. So when he came in and said, I will finesse the police, I will lie to them. No, because you wanted them to verify what you told them. And we're going to talk about how the police and Mike Sprinkle was able to verify what he told them. Let's listen to this June 16th, 2015 call.
They don't go over what's on, man. Yeah. Oh. Who else on the show, right? Yeah. That's about
So what is he saying then? Why you put my name in the song? He know who did it. Because they all know who did it. They knew that it was Yak, Doo-Wop, Shannon, and Nard. And Kendrick is, Coleman is the second. He's like, why you put my name in the song? Put the ones who did it in the song. So they can stop targeting me. Now, let's talk about his trial testimony. You know, I actually do like rap music, kind of very popular belief. And there is an artist, Young G, and he has a song called Put On. And I'm telling you what Copeland and Zachary did while they testified here, was they put on for YSL. They came in here acting all types of foolishness. And that's because they wanted to show their gang member friends, look, I'm still part of the conspiracy. I know I snitched on y'all back in 2015, but I'm going to try to help y'all out the best as I can. And that's what they did this entire time. They friends. They've been friends for a long time. They wear the same clothes. They lay together. What makes you think that Demekion, when he got to that car at McDonald's and said, yo, let me tell y'all what they just did. Let me tell you what our homie Our boy for the last couple of years just did. They just killed Nut because Kendrick wasn't around. He was sleeping at his girlfriend's house. So he missed the action. So you don't think when Demetrius get in the car, he's not going to say, oh, let me tell you what Sharon just did, Joe. They friends. And they want you to believe that Demetrius did not tell Copeland what happened moments after it happened. That don't even make sense. And we're going to ask you your common sense. It's them. And these weren't all taken in 2015, because some of these are older pictures. They look super young. This is how long they've been friends. Now, it was interesting when Mr. Shard asked, why are we showing you this video from 2009? Let me tell you why. Because Quindari's been around for a long time. Quindari's been around since 2009. So Quindarius knows about what's happening. See, we didn't just bring you stuff. I know some days you're like, why does the state bring me a video from 2009 in the park? It's to show the evolution of their relationships. Quindarius a little bit different than Copeland. Because see, he's been around Mr. Williams much longer than Copeland's ever been in the picture. See, Mr. Copeland started coming around in 2014. Mr. Zachary's loyalty is a little bit different. He's been around since 2009. So when Zachary tells you in his interview, Doug ain't know nothing about that murder. Yes, he did. But his loyalty is a little different because he's been around. You want to know why we showed you the video of them outside in the apartment complex? To show their association. Again, Zachary's been around again for a long time. He real better than it. He rocked through YSL. So he had a motive to lie for Jeffrey Williams that Kendrick doesn't have as much of. In his interview. See, when Quindarius interviewed, he asked to come and speak to the police. And you're going to watch his interview, because what both of them do in their interviews, both Copeland and Quindarius, and this is how you know they were telling the truth, they would correct the officers. If the officers were repeating something that was wrong, they would say, no, I didn't say it like that. I said it like this. That's what they would do. That's how you know that what they were trying to tell them, they were trying to be as truthful as they could so that they would get it right. They, being the police, would get it right. And again, same thing. He come in here talking about he wouldn't take one of the investigators out, all types of nonsense. But again, putting on for YSL. And again, he's been around. They friends. They friends. And why would they lie on their friends? If they knew to make up stuff and make up lies, why would you lie and say your friends committed a murder? That doesn't make sense. Why lie? You could just say anybody made the murder. If you were just lying, you don't want anybody to verify what you were saying, you could have said anybody committed the murder. But that's not what they did.
Simone Hilton did her objective. She did. She gave theories, though. That's the biggest problem. She gave theories. Theories. Oh, they must have swapped the car out in the back. Ms. Hilton, you telling me that they were smart enough to link up at the gas station and recognize that, what? They were smart enough to link up at the gas station and realize the cameras is there, so they went to the back to swap cars? That doesn't make sense. Then on top of that, they at the op gas station for like 40 minutes. You must not be black, Miss Simone Hilton. Cats go chill at the gas station all the time. That's why they put up out there no loitering. Now, she did make a point. I'm not going to play deaf, dumb, and blind on this one. She did make a freaking point with the bullets and all that stuff and everything like that and blah, blah, blah and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But Miss Hilton, no, the streets talk. The streets talk. The streets freaking talk. They do. You don't think it was cats, like they were saying the other day, oh yeah, it was cats that was out there that wasn't even supposed to be from there, that was not from there and all that kind. You don't think them fools sat up there and talked about that stuff? Ms. Hilton, let me help you out. The streets talk. Woody already told you. I sprinkle in some truth. And then I go about my thing and I start lying. Because I know what y'all want to hear. Police are not that complicated. They're just not. But her theories were pretty good. Let's just be fair, square, obvious, and honest. The grand scheme of it all is this. As I sit here today, who has the stronger chance of beating all their charges definitely is Diamante Kendrick. It would not surprise me if he walked out of court next Monday, or really next Tuesday, and they find that man not guilty of all charges. It just wouldn't. It would not surprise me. Do I think that they will find him guilty of murder? I just don't. There's too much doubt in the air. It's like a thick smell. Like there's too much freaking doubt in the air. And I'm not YFN, I'm not YSL, bruh. At the end of the day, them people need their justice. Them families need their justice. They didn't deserve none of this crap. They weren't supposed to do any of this shit. Like, none of that stuff. But at the end of the day, man, I'm just not seeing it. Because what Miss Hilton didn't say is if you knew Woody was innocent like that altogether, why the hell did y'all charge him with murder? Him and Moontoon charged him with murder in the first place. If you were so hell-bent on these cats being so guilty, why did you charge 2 other people? Huh? So you mean to tell me you don't think that these cats knew from the discovery and all of this shit before? Y'all didn't charge Diamante Kendricks and Doo-Wop and Shannon Steele. Y'all didn't charge them first. This is your third go-around. This ain't Maury, where she done brought in somebody to say, you are the father, he's not. You are the father, he's not. The third one, you are the father. As if the third time gets it right. I wish that, and that's why I didn't give anybody an A+. I wish they would have brought that up. Somebody should have said, Woody and Moontoon beat the murder before, but I think that they're guilty. Didn't do that. Didn't bring up that they charged 2 other cats for that. Miss Hilton, if y'all had such fire forensics, such fire evidence, why the hell didn't y'all have it before? Why didn't y'all charge them people before? Because you didn't know. You was playing pin the tail on the donkey. And this is why you guys have failed. It should have been nothing for a roundup. It's not like y'all give a damn about these people. Y'all don't. It was good, yeah. But hell, I just destroyed your theory right there. I'm a hood lawyer, I ain't a real one. Y'all rely so much on cellular data and all this stuff and everything like that until you don't. You put up on your damn thing, it's what they're not saying. You don't even know that backfired against you as well. So as we sit here tonight, we're going to see 2 people get off of murder charges. I think Shannon Jackson, unfortunately, hey, you done enough, bruh. I think they got you with the criminal enterprise of the RICO. I just do. But I don't think that you're not going to walk out of that courthouse. I think you're going to walk out of there on probation, which actually, I hate to say it this way, might be a good thing. It might be a good thing for you. Might force you to change your ways, bruh. You've been sitting in there. Man, you looking like Mufasa now. You started out looking like Simba. The young Simba. We seen them old videos. He looking like young Simba. Now he sit there today looking like a full-grown Mufasa. That's not a diss or nothing like that. I'm just saying, bro, I hope you matured as much as you look. You don't look like the same little young-ass dude that's running around there talking slick and talking reckless and all of this shit. You just don't. And yeah, I hate that people don't want to see it this way, but he was clout chasing with dissing game. He was. He was. Some people didn't look at it that way, but I 100% agree with Matt Sharp on that one. He was clout chasing with game. For sure. It is what it is. But when Matt Sharp brought up the Green store and how they didn't go get the evidence for that, but you was able to get the evidence that Shannon Stillwell got shot at, and you seen that at the Green Store camera, but miraculously, y'all didn't want to go get the Green Store footage for the murder of Donovan Thomas? They just didn't care, bruh. Y'all didn't. Y'all started trying to throw shit against the wall and seeing what stuck. Because for whatever reason, y'all were so fixated on Woody that y'all missed the whole entire play. You literally exonerated this dude. But y'all didn't do that the first time. He did that. And the worst part about this is, what about the regular people, the citizens, who are supposed to believe in a justice system that has shown us nothing but injustice? What are we supposed to believe? What do we sit here today think and do? How do you people go to sleep tonight and think to yourselves, this was great? I've seen so many times when Atkins and Hilton were sitting up there doing a spiel and Love was just like, and I'm looking at Miss Love, and I'm just like, Miss Love, you don't get it. Miss Love should have been the one to do the closing that Atkins did. She has a better command. Now, granted, the jury don't like her, but I don't give a damn. Atkins should not have been the one. I thought Atkins was going to do a better job. Atkins looked goofy as hell, bro. He was all over the place and couldn't even tie it in at the end. Atkins' whole entire premise is, let me prove the conspiracy racketeering part of YSL, and did a piss poor, pathetic job. You just showed a bunch of pictures and chopped up conversations and thought that that was enough. And I think it will, unfortunately, be enough for Shannon Stillwell. But it ain't going to be what the hell y'all think it's going to be. And Fonnie Willis, how hard is your ego going to be hit if Diamante Kendrick, an alleged murderer, walks away scot-free? Because I'm not even convinced on the Briss shooting. Y'all sat up there and basically played us in our face like that cop wasn't in the wrong. That cop was 100% in the wrong. And I think either his own gun or his partner shot him. And I think when the trial of Briss happens, I think the bullets that's going to be shown are going to come from a police officer and not him. And I think his ass just took credit for it because why not? They're already ready to fry him, bro. But as far as today goes, there is going to be no justice for Shamel Drinks and Donovan Thomas. And I can't remember the other person. It's just not. And it's because they don't give a damn about them people. This is a last effort, last ditch effort, save face ass thing. And we could tell. We could tell, bro. That jury ain't going for that shit. And neither are y'all. But I'll catch you on the next one. Share to keep your people aware. Subscribe to that bell. Stay notified. And I'll catch you on the next one.